Hello friend, welcome to my channel. I am Taylor Bradford and today is part 2 to building a communal table or a bar height table. So let's get back to it. Okay, so last week I showed you part 1 to building this communal table, and this week is the remaining parts to what this table consists of, how we finished it out, and then what it looked like for its debut. So let's get back into it. First, biscuits are cut, the biscuit holes are cut. So this is my outer board. I made my markings and then lined my middle up so that I could cut into the wood. And so this one is done. Now I need to flip the already glued together table plank. I need to flip it around because my markings are on this side and I don't need to shove shavings over there. So that's next. And then I have all of these pieces to do, and then we will be gluing. And yes, I end up using the little bottle. All right, the other side is now cut, and now it's time for me to glue. And I'm actually gonna pour the glue into these and these, so both sides glue goes in. But I'm also going to add glue to the edge of this board and smooth it down so that it actually connects to this board with more than just the biscuits. But I gotta start somewhere, so I'm gonna get the glue on this side, but I'm gonna get it flipped around so that I am not having to do that once there's glue everywhere. All of my biscuit holes are cut. So now I just need to glue these two guys together, and then once they dry, I shouldn't say all my biscuit holes are cut because I still have to biscuit hole this end and that end to connect these breadboards in. Now that's the part where I don't have a large enough clamp to pull it in, so I just use a mallet and hope for the best. That's what I did with 20 tables and it's served me well. But the frame helps the breadboard stay on, so that helps too. Everything is now gluing, and I will probably wait about an hour. I know the glue is supposed to dry a little faster than that, but let's see, probably wait an hour, maybe a little longer, to fully dry down, and then I will work on putting biscuit holes on both ends and then the inside of the 1x6, and I'll check on it in an hour to see how it looks, and if it still looks like it needs longer cure time. Actually, you know what, probably be beneficial to check the bottle here. Clamp for a minimum of 30 minutes. Do not stress joints for 24 hours. Probably should just wait to do anything until tomorrow, which is fine. I can get these guys on. I really wanted these guys on tonight so that that is curing. There really won't be any stress on the joints. Yeah, I'm gonna check on it in an hour, setting the timer, and then if I can get this put together tonight so it can dry, then I can build the frame and start on the next table tomorrow. That would be fantastic. Can we just talk about how exciting it is that one tabletop is done? There's my mess up. Fix the mess up. Always measure a couple of times before you cut. But the first tabletop is done. It has had enough time to glue, for the glue to dry. and I will, obviously it needs to be, like, I have to sand it before I can ever stain it, but yeah, it's on. So now I have to gracefully flip this guy over so that I can start working on the frame. So the goal tonight is to get the frame on so that my husband can work on the battery part and where exactly we are placing the holes for the plugs. Just excited that this part's done. And next up, frame, and then one table will be complete. And that's fantastic. My assistant was able to get 6 of the table legs stained. Let's come over here. So these guys are already stained. We ran out of staining cloths, so I have to pick some up in the morning. And so we just have 6 more of these legs to go, which is great. And yeah, so now it's time to figure out the frame. And it's almost done. Okay, for real, it is almost done. The legs are fitted in. Now I have to grab this guy and get it prepped, because this is what holds the battery for the charging stations. So I need to measure the board and get it dead center here, but I also have to cut a board for here and here. I might have my husband come help me with that, because that was his task on the others, so he has all of that figured out already. And then have to take the legs back out, flip it over, and cut the holes in the middle for the charging cords. So these guys right here that slot down in there. And then all that's left is to sand and stain. I have to do filler and sand and stain. So not too bad, not too bad. Pretty proud. We are working on setting up the power terminal so that these guys have power for charging. And we've got our battery tucked in. We have our wires coming out that will be attached to the battery. And this is kind of a, well, it's called a battery meter, but it'll help us be able to just take a peek under the table to see the power of the battery. whether or not we need to swap the battery out. And Chad's working on installing that.
So that's a 50 amp hour battery, and it's 670 watt hours. So you can power something that pulls 670 watts for 1 hour, 12 volts, or something that pulls 670 watts for 1 hour. So your phone...
That's what you just said twice.
No, I said amps the first time.
Oh.
So you can power, a phone takes about 11 watts, but that's over a 3-hour period. We tried to do the math, and we think we haven't figured out. So I think we can, this battery will be able to power everyone's cell phones and little tablets, and we'll have to, during the conference, we will have to change them out.
Alright, now we have this side complete, and we will take it back apart, and now it's time for me to sand it so I can get it stained. But this one is ready to go. Just have to charge the battery. Okay, the second table is stained. with the first coat, and then once it dries, then I will, oh, I'm not sure where it went. Maybe it went back over here. Yes. Nope, that's summer oak. Somewhere is the cherry stain. Light cherry. Here it is. Oh, sorry. Traditional cherry. Just a light coat on top of this so that it matches the table leg, which is here. And you can see that there's just a hint, well, maybe you can't see, but I can see that it's just got a little bit of a red tint to bother me. So give this about an hour to dry. This table is ready. I got caught out in sprinkles, but I was able to get it fully sanded all the way to 220. So my grits, so I'm using, or I was using my Surf Prep sander. This is 3-inch electric orbital sander. This is a fantastic sander. Great investment in your toolkit if you are in the refinishing world. And then here are my Surf Prep sanding discs. So I started out at 150 with this wood. There is some kind of weird exterior, I don't even know, so it takes a good bit of sanding to knock that layer off, which helps you get the stain to absorb into the wood. So 150, this is my, I have less in sanding disc, but I'm just staining and it's for rentals, so I don't need it to be perfect. So I went 150, then I stepped to 180 as the middle, and then it went up to 220 as the refinement. I could go higher, but again, I don't need to, so, or I choose not to. So yeah, so that is good. This guy is the one that we installed all of the batteries for. As soon as this one comes up on the table, we'll go ahead and get all of that stuff done, and then I will get it stained. I'd rather allow my husband to get all of that ready, and then we can pull it back out and I can work on staining it. So I use these Scott paint and stain cloths. These are great. And then I just wear gloves, although sometimes this seeps through. But I find that when you use like a throwaway foam brush or even a stain brush or even a foam pad, that you don't get a great application, at least in my opinion. So these are dust free and are great. Lint free, sorry, not dust free, lint free. And these are fantastic. So use the 2 at a time, one to apply the stain, and then once it sits for a couple of minutes, then one to wipe the stain back off. And you get a really decent coverage. Again, this isn't perfect, and for whatever reason it's showing cooler and darker on the phone, but anyways, there we go. And here are the final results. Our 3 communal tables with charging stations. So we are all lit up. We have cords for people to charge their tablets and phones, bar stools, and they're fantastic. Super proud of these guys.